Of a three-part series, Albuquerque Museum Curator of Art Andrew Connors talks about how art can challenge us.
Our daily existence becomes very interesting when we're challenged with new ideas and challenged to come up with our own thoughts. The world is very mundane if we live in the same response day after day after day, if we think the same things day after day after day. It's when we get provoked, it's when we don't know what the right answer is and we have to make that adventuresome step to answer that question, that we really learn more about ourselves and the world becomes that much more expansive and interesting. Modern art creates a real challenge for us because a lot of people will go up to an abstract work of art and expect it to tell them something, as opposed to allow the work of art to draw something out of them. And for most artists, most good contemporary artists, art is not supposed to be something other than what it is. And that challenges us because contemporary artists always expect that the viewer is going to participate in the interpretation. They don't tell us what to think, but they challenge us to think. So New Mexico, while it didn't necessarily provide abstract subject matter, the openness of the space, the willingness of artists to experiment and try new things, I think allowed things to happen here in New Mexico that happen nowhere else in the United States. Raymond Johnson is a perfect example of one of those experimenters. Raymond Johnson, when he came to New Mexico, was a figurative painter, a landscape painter. But shortly after arriving in New Mexico, he began to reduce the outside influence to pure abstraction. And he, with a group of other artists, founded a group called the Transcendental Painting Group that basically implied that good painting, good works of art can transcend the literal experience of life here on the planet and take us somewhere different. It can take us to a world of open interpretation and open possibility. In Albuquerque, unlike in Santa Fe or Taos, there was no perceived traditional culture. There was no heritage that you had to respond to. The world was open. Ever since the arrival of the railroad in 1880, Albuquerque was a place that was looking forward constantly. It was a place of commerce and business. And when the university arrived, it was then a place of commerce, business, and new cutting-edge ideas. And the artists responded to that very powerfully. Jean Quick-to-See Smith, coming from a Native American background, moved to New Mexico, an entirely different cultural area for her, and pulls things from her ancestry, from her heritage in Montana and Idaho area, and interprets that through the realities of New Mexico and creates absolutely modern images. One of the youngest voices now to burst on the scene is Sheldon Harvey, who paints from his Navajo heritage and tells stories. He does root his paintings in subject matter that is meaningful for him and his community. But if we don't know those stories, we can still get so much from those works of art if we're willing to invent our own, to come up with our own solutions to the challenges that he proposes to us. So when an artist finds their voice, when they find their language in which to express themselves, they can push it towards abstraction, towards the ethereal, towards the unclear, or the unrepresentative, or they can pull it back and tell very specific stories that work for them and work for their heritage. With the revival of the Santero tradition, which was in many ways spearheaded by a number of dynamic artists, including Horacio Valdés, we see an anti-modern response to the new and to experimentation, and a return to a past subject matter from heritage, from their ancestry. But what Horacio Valdés does with this death cart is streamline it. He minimizes the details, and he reduces it to the pure communicative form of modernism. Ramona Sequiestewa, a weaver of Hopi heritage, has been working in a medium that's not traditional for women. In the Hopi culture, the men do the weaving, so she's breaking new grounds that way. But she's also weaving in a way that is very avant-garde and is very contemporary and is completely abstract. Certainly the colors would never give us any indication that she's looking at stonework from New Mexico. The fact that she's rooting it in pre-conquest heritage is really profound. I think the best of artists see the world through lenses of wonder. And the best artists are so enthused with their constant daily interaction with the unknown that they want to share that with many of us. And contemporary artists, abstract artists in particular, love to share the unknown with us because they've just gotten there themselves. And they want to pull us there so that we can see it as well. When you walk through the portrait section of the exhibition, I hope nobody will say, that's a typical New Mexican, or this is what a typical New Mexican is, because all of those portraits are New Mexicans. All of those landscapes are New Mexican places. All of these works of art were either made in or reaction to New Mexico. And I think it's important that all of these different voices are engaged in this communication. And all of these works of art basically push towards an understanding of who we are as a state and who we are as a community through all of our diversity and richness.